Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daryl Walter Show. We are live from the marvelous Chateau. Welcome, everybody, to the Daryl Walter Show. I am your host, Daryl Walter. How's everybody doing out there? Listen, tap in the comments and let me know how you're doing out there. Tap in the comments, let me know how you're doing. Click like, click share, comment, share with somebody. What up, Cupcakes? What up, Michelle? What's going on, everybody out there, baby? We are live from my living room. Okay, we're gonna talk. I don't know what's gonna happen on this show today, but we're gonna have a good time. Listen, my ring lights went out. You ever have a day, you ever have a week, then when a lot of things could go wrong. I was gonna say when everything could go wrong, but a lot of things could go wrong. But you keep pushing, and guess what? The show must go on anyways. Listen, baby, we're gonna have a good time today. We're going to talk about a lot today. We are going to talk about I'll call it the Lynette, what up, Lynette? Lynette inspired conversation, the ego navigating narcissism in the church. Thank you very much. You know what? We may do this again. Hey, Shaka, I feel like he's watching over me. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen today. I'm in rare form today. So what I need you to do is turn to your neighbor, or just turn to somebody, turn to yourself and say, get uncomfortable. It's time to reach out of that comfort zone and bear the pain and the beauty of being uncomfortable. Y'all, I wrote this earlier than my ring light went out. So I'm talking to myself. But I want to help somebody out there. Listen. It's time to get uncomfortable. It's time to move out of your comfort zone and do things that you wouldn't normally do. Yes, baby, get uncomfortable. Listen, start with taking a different way to work. You know what I'm saying? Start with starting your day differently. For some of you, it may be leaving that situation. For some of you, that's right. Come on, get naked. But it's time to get uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's time to leave that dead end situation, that dead end church, and that dead end drama. I just want to help somebody out with that, y'all. Listen, today we are going to talk about narcissism in the church. But first, let's get into what went viral, which is a whole lot, which is just a whole lot. It's just a whole lot and it's too much at the same time. I picked a few things I would like to cover before we get to Will and Jada. Israel. Let's go over to Israel, baby. In a surprise attack, Hamas, the militant group, stormed from the Gaza Strip, leaving hundreds dead. Now, this is the reason I brought up the map. Listen, Kwame, I am not well versed in world affairs and whatnot going on, but what I am well versed in is ignorance and stupidity, okay? And what I noticed was a lot of people got in their feelings when the war happened in Israel. First of all, we're praying for Israel. We're praying for everybody around the world. Okay. This is a tragic event. But a lot of y'all out there were talking about, well, child, this is the last days. You know, Jesus is coming back. First of all, I brought up this map because half of y'all don't even know where Israel is. Find it. I'll wait. I said to myself, these people talking about the last days, and they ain't even been to Israel. Don't know where. Look, y'all still struggling. Some of y'all know where it is. Bring up the map where Israel is. Okay, that's where it is. Okay. See, some of y'all out there talking about the last day, you know, Jesus is coming back. Not while you out there eating pork, smoking Newports, and bending over to everything. Okay, let me stop. My whole point is slow it down, baby. No man knows the time nor the hour. Okay, but some of y'all getting way too deep swimming in a kiddie pool. Let's move on. I just had to get that off my chest before we move on to Will and Jada. Jada Pinkett. You know what? Jada Pinkett, take the Smith off. Jada Pinkett. This girl been lying to us. I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna move real slow with this one because it is, you know, let's just talk, okay? Jada Pinkett Smith revealed to us that her and Will have been separated since 2016. Now, a lot of people say were we surprised? No. Some people don't care. Some people are questioning the slap, which, listen, let's be honest. That slap had nothing to do with Jada. We've been done talked about this for a minute. We love Jada. She was fine, set it off. Let's just play the clip of the interview and then let's just get into it because we have a lot to talk about with this. And I'm going to go easy on y'all today. Okay. I told you I was in rare form. Let's just play the interview a little bit. Just
Here
go
is some
ahead.
news to make you smile. Gymnast Simone Biles has been staging a comeback after a 2-year break, and
Lord,
she is not.
that ain't the clip. We'll come back to it. Okay. Put Jada on the screen. Put Jada back on the screen because obviously put Jada back on the screen. Let's talk about her for a second. Because here's the issue, y'all. While we're waiting on that, the real issue is why did they feel the need to lie to us? And let's be honest, the whole family was in on it. The whole entire family was in on it. And let's go a step further. The reality is a whole lot of Will and Jada's out there. It's a whole lot of y'all, it's a whole lot of y'all out there living like Will and Jada. Okay? It's a whole lot of y'all out there in relationships and friendships for the sake of being in the friendship, for the sake of image, for the sake of pleasing everybody else. Now, first of all, now, Jada, I just want you to know that I love you. Should this clip go viral and should we ever see this in live? Okay. Let's play the clip.
We are
We got
back 8:14 with Carson and Hoda's exclusive interview with Jada Pinkett Smith, and everyone's going to be talking about this.
Yeah, she is one half of Hollywood's most powerful couple. She's at the center of constant gossip and controversy, including that slap at the Oscars. She was sitting right next to Will Smith. And when we met up with Jada in her hometown of Baltimore to talk about her candid new memoir, Worthy, she opened up about an issue that has been kept secret until now.
There are so many surprising things in the book, but the thing that surprised me the most, that I actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
Right.
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
Yes.
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
But in public, the couple, who married in 1997, denied the gossip about their marriage. This interview on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen was taped a year after Will and Jada separated.
So how long have you guys been together?
23 years.
Wow. That's amazing. How do you keep it hot?
How do I keep it hot? Maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm baffled, really.
Yeah, right.
Over the next several years, Jada and Will kept up the appearance of a committed married couple. They even faced a scandal when Jada had what she called an entanglement with a family friend. Neither let the public know they had already split.
So I guess my question is, I feel like you're a straight talker,
I am.
except you're not sometimes.
But you lie
So
sometimes.
why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us
Yeah.
how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people? you
Okay,
know?
that's enough. That's
And-
enough. Take them both off the screen. Because at this point, oh Lord, take I don't want to fight her. Yeah, that was more than long enough. Okay. Here's the thing. Let's just talk about it. How many times have we stayed in something longer than we should have? Oh, the slapping was for a reason. But here's the bigger question. I'm trying to ask y'all, how long have we stayed in relationships, friendships, situationships, things that no longer serve us purpose, but because of the public eye, because of the perception, because of the commitment that we made, because we don't want to be embarrassed, we stay in it anyways. Some of y'all in something right now you need to get out of. I'm just saying. Some of y'all in something right now. I personally don't blame Jada. I don't blame Will. I blame us. How many of us wanted to have a marriage like Will and Jada? Oh, don't act scared now. Don't act shy now. How many songs have we listened to with Will and Jada in it because we want to be like Will and Jada? We were the ones that kept them in this limelight. Honestly, in my opinion, they probably heck divorced a long time ago. And look at Jada, still can't divorce them because of it's like, girl, quit that promise. Because here's the thing: marriage is not about love. You're absolutely right, Michelle. Well, marriage is a little bit about love. I mean, but that's a whole nother conversation. Here's the thing: she hurt August Alsina. They owe him an apology. Will Smith, I can never look at him the same. Notice Will ain't saying nothing. In my eyes, I don't think Will likes Jada. I think Will has moved on. He's lived with his girlfriend in Italy or wherever he is, gallivanting across the sea, living his best life, hopefully getting some therapy. But the bigger question and the bigger conversation for everyone out there, while we're looking at Will and Jade going, wow, they lied to us. What was the slap about? The real question is, why did we put them in that limelight like that? And Will never say anything. Jada's saying a whole lot, and she's saying a whole lot of nothing at the same time. And I will read the memoir. Give me a couple of weeks and I will report back to it because we're going to find out what that slap is about. But really, this Will and Jada situation, this revelation, ask yourself, why am I in this? Ladies and gentlemen, Will and Jada divorce. I don't know what to call them. I really don't know what to call them. We're going to move on from them. Let's get into another marriage situation. Bride calls off wedding after finding out groom had an affair with men in college. Now, let me just preface this video by just saying I don't know these people. I don't even know their names, but we just gonna call them Will and Jada Jr. No pun intended. Let's just play the clip.
Okay. Oh, you're petty. You're petty. You're petty. You're petty. You're petty. You're petty. I'm not coming back forward with you. We're getting married. That's just that. That's that. Oh, we're not? We're not? We're not? We're nothing. We're gonna have to fight. Well, you're gonna have to fight hard for me to do it. You're gonna have to convince me. You're mad at something that happened years ago in college just because I slept with a few males in the past. Yeah, okay.
I don't know when you could have randomly gave me something.
Hey, you would have known. It was years ago. It was years ago. It was the past. We move forward. We move forward. We move forward. We move forward. We move forward.
It's over.
We move forward.
It's over.
I don't care how mad you are. Nothing that you say to me matters right now.
Nothing what you say to me.
Okay, good. Then we're on the same page. Then we're on the same page. Then we're on the same page. Good, here we are. Here we are. Because you're mad.
Okay, that's
I'm
enough.
still
That's
here.
a lot of
I'm
yelling.
still here.
Okay.
I don't
Now, baby, that face says everything. Keep her on and yeah, there we go. Right there. Yep, there you go, right there. Right there. Keep her right there. We're gonna call her Lil Jada. Okay, that's a little set it off Jada back in the day. Now, I don't know much about the situation, but I'm going to acquiesce that this happened before they got together, y'all. I don't know why people record everything. That was my particular issue, but since they recorded it, I'm going to involve myself in this. Okay. I didn't want to believe this was true at the beginning. I didn't want to believe this is true. And here's the conversation. Here's the conversation I want to have. Some of y'all gonna fight me on this. Some of y'all gonna understand a little later. Right. At this point, why are we yelling? Bring Cupcake's comment back up there. Why are we yelling? If they don't want you, leave. The reasoning is wild, but clearly they didn't. Right. Okay. Here's my commentary on it, y'all. First of all, I questioned if she really loved him. Okay. It just seems we don't know the backstory, we don't know the history, but I find it interesting that this happening in the past, for her to call off the wedding seems like for her to call off the wedding so easy. You know, the things that I question, y'all, is number one, did she love him? Was love really there, or was it a love that was based on societal standards, right? Number two, Black women in general, but Black women, I want to talk to y'all. I'm not saying there seems to be a double standard that I get. Some people say it's fair, some people say that it's not fair. But here's the conversation I want to have with y'all. I understand there are women who do not want to be with a man who has been with a man in any kind of way. Now, here's the thing about it, y'all. Is that possible? Yes. But what happens is when the conversation gets so wild that, oh, I'll never, a man is not a man if he's been with a man. I don't want to be with the man if he's been with another man. I can't see myself being with a man that's been with another man. I guarantee you that is going to increase and perpetuate and foster the DL community. It is not going to stop men from exploring and being DL. As a matter of fact, it's going to push them to be more DL. Another point I want to make is I guarantee you a lot of the men out there that swear up and down they've never been with a man have been with a man, and you will never know. Women say that men are messy at cheating and stuff like that. Not all men, especially men that deal with other men. And you will never know about it, especially if we continue to foster this DL community. I know people don't want to hear it, but it's true. I believe she has the right to leave. But what happened to communication and conversation? And again, I'm not saying you have to accept a person for what they did in the past. But what I am saying is that this video here, these people, this conversation is encouraging men to lie even more. It's encouraging men to, if they do experiment with other men, they're going to continue to do it. They're going to continue to do it. But the thing about it is you'll never know about it, and vice versa. I understand the double standard, but help me out, y'all. Why is there a double standard? Now, I'm not saying men should go around and just run trains on each other. Didn't mean to paint the picture. But will there be a time where we can forward to a couple being together and not judging based on the past? I mean, hell, we all have a past. If you don't know how to communicate in a healthy way, you know, if she found out just before the wedding, what happened to communication? What happened to marital counseling? What happened to understanding? I don't know. For some reason, this just disappointed me, because I feel what's happening is that it's encouraging men into the closet. It's encouraging men to hide more. Well, you know, listen, the double standard, Lynette, is that women can be with other women. Women, you know, if she had experimented with another woman and she had told him, I think the wedding would still be on. I don't believe the wedding would have been called off. Oh, she told everything. It's a part two. Lord, it's a part two. She has the right to leave. She does. But here's the thing. Would it have been better if he were with women? And why is that better? I'll look into it. That's the thing, is that it wasn't recent. And I'm not saying that it's petty, but I think more so, as I look into it, and I'll say this as I end this part of the segment, is that it makes me question, well, what is love? What is love if I can't communicate who I am with somebody and trust them with my heart? And vice versa. I'm going to look more into it, but I stand on what I said. You know, I understand not wanting to be with the man who's with the man, but also I just want to put it out there. A man is going to be a man the same way a woman is going to be a woman. And I think this encourages men to hide who they are, to lie about who they are, to keep it a secret. It encourages the DL community, encourages men to hide more. That's all I'm saying. This is a big conversation, y'all. Oof. The bigger conversation, Kwame said, we don't have space for Black men to explore who they may or may not be without judgment. Heck, we don't even allow men to show emotion. We don't even allow ourselves to show emotion. That's the bigger conversation. Men are emasculated if we cry. Heck, even women are we look down on ourselves. Any type of showing of femininity, of softness in men and in humanity, we look down on it. And that's the bigger conversation, I believe, also. We do need a part 2 and part 3. You know what, Kwame? Let's do this. Let's do this, y'all. We're going to table this conversation and we're going to come back to this one. Now, lastly, Governor Gavin Newsom, I put there he banned Skittles, y'all, but y'all can still eat your Skittles in California, okay? Um, October 7th, Gavin Newsom, your governor in California, all y'all out there, signed a bill known as the California Food Safety Act into law. The historic legislation bans the manufacturing, selling, delivering, distributing, holding, or offering for sale of food products that contain four additives currently found in about 12,000 candies, cereals, and sodas. The contentious bill nabbed attention in spring 2023 for possibly taking Skittles, possibly taking Skittles off the corner stores. But after a revision, the final version of the bill does not include titanium dioxide. So y'all can still eat your titanium dioxide infused Skittles. Oh Lord, there's still plenty of products that will be affected by the ban, including Peeps. So I don't know what y'all gonna do for Easter next year, but gather up and make sure you all full of all your products of red dyes before you head out. You know what? Let me just say this. I want to say this really nicely. This is this is a ban, in my opinion, in my head. In my head. This was funded by Karen. I just feel like this, I wouldn't be like my child was eating red dye, and when I took the red dye off, then she could hear and see all of a sudden. Now she's talking normal after I stopped feeding her chocolate milk with red dye in it. Okay, let me stop because I'm going to get in trouble. Listen, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to have a nice conversation about ego and navigating narcissism in the church. I'll see y'all in the 1 and 2. Peace.
Welcome to Bullet in Flight Radio. As we celebrate our 2nd year in radio, we invite you to take flight in this world filled with diversity, where radical faith and progressive believers come together. There's a place that's breaking all boundaries and embracing believers of all walks of life. Join us 24/7 for science, mental wellness, and all the greatest music on earth. Simply by saying, Alexa, play Bullet in Flight Radio on TuneIn, and you will take flight. And if you wish to become a pilot, we are a 501c3, so your giving gives right back to you. Our Cash App is $, Bullet in Flight Radio, or PayPal us at paypal.me/bulletinflightpros. Help us make 2024 even bigger for you. And remember, this is your story, our station. For more information, please visit www.bulletinflightradio.com.
What's going on, my friends? Welcome back to the Daryl Walter Show. I hope y'all can hear me out there. Tap in the comments. Let me know you can hear me. Make sure you click like and click share. Listen, before we get into the conversation, I just need you to take a deep breath and breathe in that fresh air and just repeat after me and say, I'm going to make it. I am going to make it. I don't know who needs to hear this on the replay or live right now, but I just want to remind you at this halfway point in the week that you are going to make it. All right, let's talk about it. Narcissism in the church, baby. The ego. Lord, you're gonna make it. We're gonna make this, y'all. I just want you to know that you're gonna make it and you're gonna win on the other side. Now let's get into this conversation. This conversation, I call this a Lynette inspired conversation. And listen, y'all, if there's something you want me to talk about, if there's something you want to share, you want to be a guest on the Daryl Walter Show, you can email me at iamdarylwalter@gmail.com. Hit up Pyro Media Network and my team will get to me and make sure we get you plugged in. All right, let's talk about it, y'all. Ego, navigating narcissism in the Black church. There is so much to talk about. And I realize even in this moment, I realize even in this moment, when we talk about narcissism in the church, as I'm talking to you all out there, I'm not talking to the narcissistic, but I am talking to the victims. I am talking to people who have been hurt by the narcissistic people in church. I am talking to people who have experienced the venom and the spew and the evilness of people who have been narcissistic in the church. And so in this moment, in this time of talking to you, one, there's people out there who are wondering, well, what is narcissism? What is a narcissistic personality disorder? And how does it operate in the church? I'm going to help you. I'm going to tell you. And I want to point out also, there's this fine line between confidence, self-confidence, and being narcissistic, right? And so a lot of times we will mistake someone being confident for narcissism, and vice versa. We will mistake someone being confident and it's really narcissistic or a trait of narcissistic personality disorder. Um, as I kind of veer off a little bit, it's not in my notes, but Lynette inspired this conversation because we both have someone in common in the church, and we have an experience um, that we share in church where we experienced being hurt by someone in the church, but also we experienced some narcissistic behavior in the church. And let me tell you what I have found. Narcissistic behavior in the church is protected by the victims. Just gonna let that marinate right there for a second. Narcissistic behavior in the church. Narcissistic people in the church are protected by the victims. How many times have we been hurt, taken advantage of, abused by ministers, leaders in the church? And how many times have we said anything? How many times have we protected them? Blurred out their name, not talked about it because we don't want to hurt the church. We don't want to hurt their reputation. So let's talk about what does it look like? Who are these people in the church? Someone with a narcissistic personality, they're characterized by an exaggerated sense of self-importance, persistent need for admiration, lack of empathy for others. Let's just park right there. How many churches do we know that have these elaborate church events, but these same members turn around and go to ask church for the money for the rent that they need to pay or the utility that they need to pay, and they get turned down because they haven't paid tithes in the church? I just want to help somebody out there. Many people who are narcissistic in the church, they are aware of their narcissism, but they look at it, they usually think everyone else has the ego. See, I bet you picturing some people in the church right now who sound like this. They'll say if others were sensible, they would agree with me because they're right all the time. Okay. Now let's talk about some traits. A narcissistic church is led by a narcissistic pastor who is consumed with insecurity. When a narcissistic church's members talk about their faith, their focus is on what the church has done for me. How many people do we know, child? My church is the best. My church, my church, my church. Y'all gonna love this one. Narcissistic personality sits in the same place every Sunday as if they own that seat. How many times have you seen that person sit in the same seat and you know not to sit in their seat? Hmm? They are narrow doctrinal stresses, right? The leaders that say, do this, don't touch that, don't taste this. Listen, I grew up in a church where, if you grew up in a Pentecostal church, we couldn't wear pants. We couldn't wear, women couldn't wear red lipstick. We couldn't listen to secular music. We couldn't go to movies. There's such a tight control. I didn't realize it. I just thought, this was what every church did. But when I look back on it now, the control the church had on me. And if you're out there and you've grown up in Pentecostal churches like this, you can relate to it. And I'm sorry to tell you, or maybe this is a revelation for you, but a lot of you were led and controlled by people who had narcissistic personalities. There is an emphasis on works over faith. How many times have you been to church? How much have you given? There is a strong emphasis on appearance and obsession with how the church is being perceived by other Christians. A narcissistic church is not a church at all. It's a religious club. A clear answer for both the narcissist and the narcissistic church is a renewed commitment. A renewed commitment not only to their beliefs, but to the community. So how do we work with getting through narcissistic behavior at church or in areas? This is me just talking and help you. Now, let me just pause and say here, I'm not a professional. Okay, don't now listen. I'm just talking, trying to help somebody before, a lot of us live in it. A lot of us live in it. And the fact, now here's the thing, let me park right here. The fact that we live in it, we're so used to it, it has become our normal. And there's so many people in church who are living in it. They're used to doing it every week. They're used to the same people. They're used to the same rules. They're used to being talked down to. They're used to being controlled. So that is their normal. And a lot of people who are in situations where they're being controlled and pulled by narcissistic behavior, guess what? They're being pulled and controlled and they don't even realize it because that is their normal. They don't realize how unhealthy it is, how not good it is for them because the narcissistic leader has convinced them this is what they need. Whew. Narcissists are never wrong. If you've ever been in a church where you have certain leaders, certain protocols, yeah, absolutely. Where you have certain protocols, it's very much so like Greenleaf. It's very much so like those churches where no matter what you say and no matter what you do, you will always be wrong. Okay? Are there good churches out there? Absolutely. And do they have narcissistic members and leaders in that church? Absolutely. So here's the thing, my good friends listening on the live and on the replay. You have to learn how to navigate it. Number one, you got to learn to build boundaries. You can have boundaries in church. I know they don't tell you this in church. They're not going to tell you this. But you can have boundaries in church. You can tell the church no. And for some of you, you're not going to like this, but some of you need to leave the church. Leave that church or leave the church. It ain't been working for you for the last 55 years. It ain't going to work for you for the next 55 years. Preachers who don't want you to visit other churches, we can go on and on. I came from a church where I had to ask the pastor permission. And when I left the church, I didn't just leave the church. Now, those of you who grew up in Kojic, y'all know about this. I joined another church under watch care. What does that mean? I'm not even a member of that church. I'm still a member of my home church. I'm just at this church because I can't get to my church. Leave the church and find your sanity. Take a sabbatical, and at the very least, build healthy boundaries in church. See the signs, see the behavior, and know that you have the ability to walk away from it, to go a different direction. Know that if you leave the church, you are not leaving God. And for many of you out there who are believers, I want to leave you with a charge, a responsibility, uh, uh, a charge to be the light, to be the example to many people who are going to stay in church. Because a lot of narcissists, remember, narcissistic people don't have empathy. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care who they damage. And so it is up to us. It is up to people who see the bigger picture, who see the light. It is up to us, for those of us who have been victims to narcissistic behavior, who have been abused by leaders in the church, to help others, right? To be a light and help people to see that there is another way and that there is another direction. Y'all with me? So many people have developed mental illness. And here's the thing, in the church is not always willing to address the mental illnesses in the church. One, because there is a fear of losing money. The church is still a business. I know people don't want to hear it. And two, a lot of people have supplemented the altar for a therapist. And I love you, but I want you to know that Jesus and therapy go hand in hand. Going to the altar and Hikamasiah ain't gonna do it. And a lot of people who have narcissistic personalities, they know it and they prey on it. That's why you see, let me slow down. That's why you see some of these ministers doing what they do, because they know they can get away with it. Not just in the church. And it is a whole nother conversation. And there's so much more to talk about. Y'all, listen. We're going to do a short Daryl Walters show, and we're going to pick it back up next week. We'll carry on a little bit about the narcissistic personalities, and we're going to talk more about that lady calling off the wedding, because I'm going to do a deep dive and do my due diligence tonight. Y'all know I'll be on top of it. Listen, it's been a crazy week. Life is lifing over here in Las Vegas, y'all. They got Formula One out here, and if you come to Vegas, just give yourself an extra 30 minutes to get to wherever you're going, okay? Because it's crazy. Let me read this comment. Michelle said, "I will even say if you need to leave Christianity and join another religion such as Buddhism, listen. Let's have that conversation. I will say this: do what you need to do to find your peace and find your happiness. I know a lot of us are scared to make changes. A lot of us are scared to move in a different direction. But I'm going to say right now at the end what I said at the beginning, and that is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's time for us to get uncomfortable. It's time for us to move out of the comfort zone and take a chance in this thing we call life. Many of you out there, and I'll include myself, many of us, yeah, it's a whole race. I'll talk about it at the end. But many of us are stuck in situations, stuck in routines, and stuck in relationships that we should have put a period on and walked away from, left it alone, and moved on. But you know why we didn't move on? Because we're so used to being a creature of habit. We're so used to doing it this way. We're so used to the comfort of it all. And we're scared of getting uncomfortable. But the reason I'm saying get uncomfortable is because I need to. I need to get uncomfortable and move into a place where things are new to me and doing things a little bit different. But listen, y'all, I will end it by saying, as I always say, if you have a vision, see it through. And if you have a dream, make sure you see it come through. But most of all, stay true to yourself. Y'all, Welcome to my living room. It'll be better next week, I promise y'all. Until then, I'll see y'all next week. All right. Make sure you hit me up. Follow me on all social media platforms that I am Daryl Walter. Listen, my Bullet In-Flight Radio family, I love y'all. Thank y'all for following me. Make sure you head over to the Facebook page, the TikTok page, and most of all, live your best life until next week. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go. Peace.
You get mad, even if you get offended. So, what you gonna do? Because I guarantee you, you can't beat me up.